Welcome back to the quarterly call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional.
Okay, sounds good.
Um, we're looking at Meta today, and
Hmm.
their latest earnings report and Q&A session just dropped. And,
Right.
there's just a lot to unpack.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot to unpack. AI is, of course, front and center. And
Absolutely.
they're making massive investments in infrastructure.
Huge investments.
And there's this palpable buzz
Right.
that this is like a turning point year for them.
It's not just hype. The numbers are kind of staggering.
Yeah.
Over 3 billion people are using their apps every single day.
Yeah.
And, their AI assistant already boasts hundreds of millions of monthly users.
That's wild to think about how integrated these technologies are becoming, like,
Mhm.
in our lives.
It's everywhere.
What are some of the ways that this AI focus is kind of manifesting in their products and services?
Well, they're laser focused on personalization. It's not just about AI doing tasks. It's about AI understanding individual user preferences and adapting accordingly.
Oh,
So it's really going deep on the user.
hmm
They envision a future where AI anticipates your needs and seamlessly integrates into your daily routine.
Wow.
A bit like having a super intelligent personal assistant who knows you better than you know yourself.
That does sound both incredibly useful and slightly unnerving at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the concrete examples we can look at of this personalized AI in action?
Well, think about AI business agents.
Okay.
These are AI programs that are designed to handle a wide range of business tasks,
Okay.
from customer inquiries to lead generation.
Gotcha.
And early feedback suggests these agents are already streamlining operations for businesses and improving customer response times.
So it's not just about fancy algorithms, it's about practical applications that are already having like a tangible impact.
Right, exactly. They're using it in the real world.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what kind of jobs these AI agents will be doing in the future.
Yeah. That's a big question, and one that Meta is clearly grappling with as they develop these technologies.
hmm
The potential is enormous, but it also raises important considerations about, the evolving nature of work and the role of humans in an increasingly automated world.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about there.
Hmm.
Now, on the technical side, their Llama 4 AI model is generating a lot of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard they're aiming to make it like the leading model in the world.
Llama 4 is a big deal.
Yeah.
They're not just aiming to create a powerful AI model, they're aiming to establish an open source standard for AI,
Okay.
particularly as a counterpoint to closed models being developed in China.
Oh, so there's a geopolitical angle to this as well.
There is. It's about technological dominance.
Wow.
This open source approach could have major implications for the future of AI development and accessibility globally.
Okay, so it's a strategic move as much as a technological one.
Exactly.
Open source often allows for faster innovation and wider adoption, but it also comes with its own set of challenges.
Sure.
It'll be fascinating to see how this plays out.
Absolutely. And speaking of potential game changers, let's talk about their AI glasses.
Oh, yeah?
Could this be the year they finally hit the mainstream?
Right. Those Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses have been getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, they're pretty slick.
Are they just a cool gadget, or could they genuinely change how we interact with the world?
Well, it's a pivotal moment for them. Early sales have been promising, but 2025 will be the real test.
Oh.
If they can hit those critical mass numbers, AI glasses could become as ubiquitous as smartphones,
Wow.
fundamentally altering how we access information, communicate, and experience our surroundings.
Imagine walking down the street and you have this AI assistant built right into your glasses that's providing you with real-time information and guidance.
Yeah, and think about the implications for things like augmented reality,
Yeah.
overlaying digital information onto the physical world.
It's the kind of future that once seemed like science fiction, but is now becoming like reality.
Exactly. And this shift towards a more integrated digital experience ties into another interesting development.
Okay.
Zuckerberg has hinted at a potential shift back to Facebook's roots, prioritizing cultural impact over immediate profit.
Interesting. What does that mean in practice?
Well, that remains to be seen, but it's a significant statement.
hmm What kind of changes could we see on the platform if they're truly moving away from the engagement at all costs model that's been so dominant in social media?
It's hard to say for sure, but we might see a shift in their algorithms, content moderation policies, or even the overall focus of the platform.
Okay.
They might prioritize meaningful conversations and connections over viral content and fleeting engagement.
So almost like a return to the original intention of the platform.
Maybe it's a bold move, but one that could have a ripple effect across the social media landscape.
Yeah, it would certainly be a departure from the Facebook we've come to know. Speaking of change, let's talk about Threads. Seems like they've struck a chord with this Twitter alternative.
Yeah, they have.
They're adding users at an incredible pace.
Threads growth has been phenomenal, millions signing up daily.
Wow.
Zuckerberg is already projecting it will become the dominant discussion platform, potentially reaching 1 billion users.
Wow. So they're aiming to dethrone Twitter.
It seems so. That kind of growth certainly has Meta's attention, especially as they closely watch their competitors,
Okay.
including TikTok. Even a brief outage on that platform recently sparked internal discussions at Meta
Interesting.
about potential opportunities and strategies.
So they're watching TikTok very closely. It sounds like a high-stakes battle for the future of social media is unfolding.
Absolutely. But regardless of what happens with TikTok, it seems like Meta is doubling down on Reels as a core part of their strategy.
They recognize the power of short-form video content and are investing heavily in tools and features for creators.
Yeah, they even have a new standalone app called Edits,
Oh,
specifically designed to give Reels creators more creative control and flexibility.
So they're pulling out all the stops to win in the video content arena. But let's not forget about the metaverse, their other big bet.
Right.
What's the latest on that front?
Well, they're still pouring resources into the metaverse,
Okay.
particularly their Horizon platform.
Mm-hmm.
While AI might be stealing the headlines right now, they see the metaverse as a long-term play,
Okay.
a truly transformative technology that requires significant upfront investment.
It's like they're building the foundation for a whole new digital world,
Exactly.
which is bound to be a complex and costly undertaking.
Yeah. They're investing billions in infrastructure to support their core business, generative AI, and of course the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, their CapEx spending is projected to be somewhere between $60 and $65 billion this year alone.
Those are astronomical numbers.
Yeah.
How are they managing these massive investments without breaking the bank?
Well, they're getting creative. They're extending the lifespan of their servers to 5.5 years to save costs. And they're developing their own custom silicon for AI workloads to increase efficiency and reduce their reliance on external vendors.
So they're running a tech empire and a masterclass in cost optimization at the same time.
It seems that way.
They're also on a hiring spree, right?
Yeah.
Snapping up top talent in AI infrastructure and other key areas.
They're aggressively recruiting, particularly for technical roles. Their headcount is expected to grow in the high single digits this year,
Wow.
with a clear focus on bolstering their AI and infrastructure capabilities. They're clearly not afraid to invest in the talent they need to achieve their ambitious goals.
It's clear that Meta is in the midst of a massive transformation, and they're throwing everything they have at it. This year is shaping up to be a pivotal one for them,
Yeah, I think so.
and it'll be fascinating to see how these different initiatives play out.
I agree. It's a fascinating time to be watching this company. They're pushing the boundaries of technology and business in ways that could have profound implications for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're making headlines with AI and the metaverse.
Right.
But let's not forget about their core business advertising.
Right.
How is AI transforming that side of their operations?
Well, that's where Advantage Plus comes in.
Right.
It's their AI-powered advertising platform, and it's already showing impressive results.
Interesting.
Their shopping campaigns using Advantage Plus are generating billions in revenue annually, and it's growing rapidly.
So it's not just a buzzword, it's actually driving revenue. What makes Advantage Plus so effective?
Well, it's all about leveraging data and machine learning to deliver highly targeted and personalized ads. It takes the guesswork out of ad campaigns and allows businesses to connect with their ideal customers in a much more efficient and effective way.
It makes sense. In a world of information overload, targeted advertising is more important than ever. But what about the user experience? Is AI just going to lead to even more intrusive ads?
Well, that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But AI can also be used to make ads more relevant and less annoying. Imagine opening your Facebook feed and seeing ads that actually align with your interests and needs. That's the promise of AI-powered advertising ads that are helpful rather than intrusive.
That would certainly be a welcome change. It seems like AI has the potential to personalize almost every aspect of our digital lives.
It does, and not just through advertising.
Yeah.
Think about AI assistants like Meta AI.
Okay.
As they become more sophisticated, they could handle a wide range of tasks, from scheduling appointments to managing finances, essentially becoming an extension of ourselves in the digital realm.
It's almost like having a digital twin who can take care of all the mundane aspects of life, freeing us up to focus on more creative and fulfilling pursuits. That sounds appealing in theory, but I imagine it also raises some privacy concerns.
Definitely. The more data these AI systems have access to, the more effectively they can function.
Yeah.
But that also means we need to be mindful of data privacy and security, ensuring that these systems are used responsibly and ethically.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
We want the benefits of personalized AI, but we also need to safeguard our privacy and autonomy. It'll be interesting to see how those tensions play out.
Absolutely. It's a conversation that we as a society need to have.
Yeah.
But getting back to Meta, we've talked a lot about AI, but what about the metaverse?
Mm-hmm.
Is that still a key part of their vision?
It seems like AI is getting all the attention right now, but the metaverse was their big bet just a couple of years ago.
Right.
Are they still committed to that vision?
They are, but it's a long-term play. They understand that building the metaverse is a monumental undertaking requiring advancements in hardware, software, and even social norms. It's
Yeah.
not something that's going to happen overnight.
It's like you're trying to build a whole new digital reality, which is bound to take time and face its share of challenges.
Right. They're investing heavily in their Horizon platform, which is essentially their metaverse hub.
Okay.
They're focusing on creating immersive and engaging experiences with stunning visuals and intuitive interactions.
I'm picturing something like a hyper-realistic video game,
Yeah.
but with social interactions and even work applications built in.
That's a good analogy. But it's more than just a game. They envision the metaverse as a place where we can connect with others, learn, work, and play in ways that are simply not possible in the physical world.
It's an ambitious vision, and it'll be fascinating to see how it unfolds. But in the meantime, they're facing some stiff competition in the social media arena. TikTok's influence continues to grow, and they're not showing any signs of slowing down.
TikTok is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Their short-form video format has resonated with users worldwide, and they've been incredibly successful at capturing attention and driving engagement.
It seems like Meta is trying to counter that with Reels, their own short-form video platform. Do you think they have a chance to catch up?
It's a tough battle. TikTok has a significant head start and a very dedicated user base, but Meta is not backing down. They're investing heavily in Reels, adding features, and giving creators more tools to produce compelling content.
It's almost like a social media arms race, with both platforms constantly innovating and trying to outdo each other.
It is, and the stakes are high. Whoever can capture and hold the attention of users will ultimately have the upper hand. It's not just about entertainment, it's about where advertising dollars go, where trends are born, and even how we consume information.
It's a powerful reminder that the digital landscape is constantly evolving, and the companies that can adapt and innovate will be the ones that thrive. Speaking of adapting, Meta is also actively engaging with governments and regulators, particularly around AI and the metaverse.
That's right. They understand that these technologies are raising complex, ethical, and societal questions, and they're trying to be proactive in shaping the regulatory landscape. They're advocating for policies that encourage innovation while also addressing concerns around privacy, security, and fairness.
It's a delicate balance. We need to foster innovation, but we also need to ensure that these technologies are developed and used responsibly.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to have these conversations to involve multiple stakeholders and to think critically about the potential impacts of these technologies, both positive and negative.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the intricacies of AI personalization to the sprawling ambition of the metaverse.
We have.
It's clear that Meta is a company in constant motion, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and shaping the future of the digital world.
Mhm.
What has stood out to you most from everything we've discussed?
It's hard to choose just one thing, but I think what's most striking is the sheer scope of their ambition. They're not just trying to build better products or make more money. They're trying to fundamentally change how we live, work, and interact with the world. That's a bold vision, and it's one that deserves our attention, our scrutiny, and our thoughtful engagement.
I agree. It's both exciting and a bit daunting to think about the implications of their plans. All this talk about AI agents and personalized experiences, it really makes you wonder what skills and knowledge will be most valuable in the future.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question. If AI can handle more and more complex tasks, what role will humans play? What will we be good at? What will make us unique and valuable?
Those are the kind of questions we need to be asking ourselves as these technologies continue to evolve. And that's what makes these deep dives so important.
Mhm.
We need to understand these forces that are shaping our world so we can navigate them thoughtfully and make informed choices.
Couldn't agree more. It's a time of tremendous change and opportunity. And it's up to all of us to stay engaged, informed, and critically aware as these technologies continue to shape our lives. It really does feel like we're at this tipping point right now.
Yeah, and it's happening so fast, it feels like.
Yeah.
Every week there's some new development
Mm.
that's pushing the boundaries even further.
It's incredible to watch.
But they're not just focused on the tech itself.
Right.
They're also trying to shape the rules of the game.
Mm.
They're actively engaging with governments and regulatory bodies,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in the U.S.,
Oh, yeah.
where there's this big push for American tech leadership on the global stage.
Absolutely. They're definitely playing the long game,
Mm.
both technologically and politically.
Mm.
They know that the decisions made today about AI regulation, ethical development, societal impact, all of that
Yeah,
are going to have far-reaching consequences.
yeah.
And they're trying to position themselves not just as innovators,
Right.
but as thought leaders and responsible stewards of these incredibly powerful technologies.
It makes sense. These aren't just abstract ideas anymore.
Right.
They're having a real impact on people's lives.
Absolutely.
We've talked about AI agents automating tasks,
Mm-hmm.
personalized algorithms shaping our online experiences,
Right.
and the potential for the metaverse to completely blur the lines between the physical and digital worlds. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is. And it's only going to get more complex,
Yeah.
as these technologies advance. That's why it's so crucial for all of us to stay informed,
Mm-hmm.
ask critical questions, and engage in these conversations
Oh, yeah.
about how we want to shape the future.
Absolutely. Out of all the things that we've discussed about Meta's plans,
Yeah.
what struck you as the most kind of mind-blowing?
For me, it's the potential of AI agents to
Yeah.
fundamentally reshape the nature of work and creativity.
Wow.
Imagine a world where anyone can use AI to design websites, compose music, write code, generate entire business plans. Like, the possibilities are endless.
That is wild.
What happens to our traditional notions of skill and expertise when these tasks become accessible to everyone?
It's a fascinating and potentially unsettling thought.
It is.
If AI can handle those really complex tasks,
Right.
what does that mean for the future of education job training,
Mm-hmm.
even how we define human potential?
Yeah, it's both exciting and a little bit scary to think about.
We might be on the verge of a world
Mm-hmm.
where coding knowledge, for example, becomes less essential
Right.
as a core skill
Right.
because AI agents can handle the technical heavy lifting. It raises all sorts of questions about what skills will be most valuable in this new AI-driven world
Mhm.
and how we prepare ourselves and future generations for that reality.
It's a huge challenge, but also a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it's clear that Meta is not just a company. It's a force shaping the future.
I agree.
And while there are many unknowns, one thing is certain. It's going to be an incredibly interesting ride.
I agree. And it's a ride that we're all on, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
The decisions made by companies like Meta, the regulations put in place by governments, and the choices we make as individuals will all shape the future of this technological revolution.
Well said.
Yeah, it really does feel like uncharted territory in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it's forcing us to rethink some pretty fundamental assumptions about, work creativity,
Yeah.
even what it means to be human in a way.
It's true. We're kind of at this crossroads where
Mhm.
we have to decide what role we want technology to play in our lives.
And how we want to shape that technology
Absolutely.
to serve our needs rather than the other way around.
Right. It's not about letting technology dictate our future.
Right.
It's about using technology to create the future we want.
Exactly. And that's what makes these conversations so important.
Yeah.
We need to be thinking critically about these issues,
Yeah.
engaging with policymakers, advocating for responsible innovation.
Couldn't agree more. We can't just be passive observers in all of this.
Yeah.
We have to be active participants in shaping the future.
Well said. Well, that just about wraps up our deep dive into Meta's latest moves.
Yeah.
It's clear that they're a company at the forefront of some pretty major technological shifts, and they're not afraid to shake things up.
They're definitely not afraid to take risks and push the boundaries.
No, they're not. And
Sure.
whether you love them or hate them, you got to admit they're a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. They're a company that everyone needs to be paying attention to.
For sure.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Meta's world.
My pleasure.
I'm curious to see what the rest of the year holds for them and for the tech industry as a whole.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be a wild ride.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.